Hey guys, so today we're going to be talking about the true clownery on Twitter. Now when I say clownery today, for a little change of pace, we're actually not going to be talking about something potentially devastating or particularly depressing, something kind of lighthearted. If you've been on social media at all in the past few days, it is going to be hard for me to believe that you have not come across this one lifestyle influencer. Now, this man is called Ashton Hall, and he is getting clowned on in a way that I haven't seen in a while. Now, he's getting so clowned on that I'm getting suggested posts about it. Mind you, initially, I wasn't bookmarking any of these because I didn't know I was going to make a video on them. Then I thought about it and I was like, So then I started bookmarking, so I don't know if that affects how much was suggested. But just scrolling on my timeline, a bunch of people that I don't follow just had these viral posts making fun of this man who posts his lifestyle content. Let me show you an example of what that lifestyle content is.
Hey. Thank you. She's out. Appreciate it. Hey!
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey!
Go hard. Good. Jump. Backhand. You got this. You got this.
Appreciate you, bro.
Okay, so a couple things to know about this guy based on what I've seen on TikTok is this guy loves this Saratoga water that I actually had never heard of, but I am a San Pellegrino girly, so there is that. This water bottle is a main character on the TikToks. If there is a TikTok where there is no water bottle, something has gone seriously wrong. In fact, in multiple TikToks, Saratoga water or whatever the fuck is there multiple times. And I don't know if he's sponsored, but I feel like at this point he should be because the water bottle is the only other character. There's a woman in some of the TikToks, but much like in, I don't know, Tom and Jerry, you only see like the woman's legs and that she's wearing slippers. You never see the face. You never see any really identifying marks. Anyway, you never see the face. Aside from the water bottle, the other main character of these TikToks is the glass bowl in which he puts ice from said water bottle and then dunks his face into the ice. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this man dunk his face into the ice. Before we get into talking about more of what's going on, I have to say I actually don't really dislike lifestyle content. For the most part, I think it's enjoyable in small bits. Like I don't need a 10-minute vlog of lifestyle content, but if you have a 1 or 2 minute get ready with me, come to work with me, whatever, I find those interesting. An issue that a lot of people are having is how curated a lot of this content is. And we'll get into that in a second. But I do think that lifestyle content, to me, is the equivalent of when you have a presentation in school. Example, I had a presentation due 2 weeks ago. Now, I basically wear the same makeup every day. I wear kind of the same clothes every day, which includes a big tee, jeans, and probably Vans. So I'm not particularly dressed up on a daily basis. The day I had my presentation, I did wear a button-up, but I dressed it up a little bit, right? So I think that when people do lifestyle content in the same way as when you have a presentation or an important thing like a date night, you're not a different person, but you're going to dress yourself up a little bit, and I think that's fine. Now, where it becomes an issue is when your entire day does not look like your regular day. Example, I want to do a vlog and take you to school with me. I'm going to maybe set up a shot so you see me getting into my car, but I'm not going to rent a different car so you think I drive a Ferrari instead of a Jeep. So there are these little swaps that people might make that stops making it a lifestyle vlog and instead, or a lifestyle TikTok, and instead it turns into a complete fabrication and curation of what your day is like. the way in which this man films, a lot of people have critiqued him for saying this is not relatable, because it's interesting to see people who are not relatable, in my opinion. Like, that's far more interesting than seeing someone who has an identical life to me. But a lot of this seems so curated that it seems like it's going very far away from what an actual day in his life is like. Does that make sense? If we go to his profile, Ashton Hall Official, or Worthy Sups, you can see that he sells meal plans. I don't know if he sells supplements or, well, I'm assuming. And then he does coaching as well. And then, as you can see here from the screenshot, you can already see him pouring 2 of the famous water bottles into the glass bowl with the ice cubes to do a morning dunk. Something you will see so many fucking times that honestly you'll blank and forget you even saw it because it's so ingrained. Lifestyle content, I think, is fun in the way of, let me see how your day unfolds. A lot of this is not necessarily about that because you don't really find out that much about this man. The point of a lifestyle TikTok video, whatever, much kind of like vlogs, is to show you like, hey, this is my office. This is what I do in my office. This is how I get ready. You know, like, you're kind of giving an explanation, even if it's without words, even if it's just visual, it's supposed to give you an insight. From all the TikToks I've watched, I have almost zero insight on what this man's life is actually like, unless we're counting the woman that we never really fully see chopping up lemons for him to put in his ice water face dunk. Like, I know nothing about you. Like, I know that you go to the gym. I know that you do like 10 push-ups and 5 minutes of journaling, but other than that, I don't know shit. Like, there are tiny clips of him being on business calls and he'll be saying something like, oh, we got to do at least 10,000 or some shit. And I'm like, 10,000 what? Of what? Like, what are we doing? It's kind of like you come in the middle of a movie and you have no context whatsoever. So you're just kind of vibing. Let's look at a couple other videos and then I'll read everything I've come across on Twitter, which is, there are so many parody videos already. This is going to be quite the ride. We are going to watch the video that started all of this off for me. And this is a, now I'd say, pretty notorious video because it is doing basically a day in the life, but showing his morning routine, which starts at 3:53 in the morning. And people have a lot to say about that as well, but we'll get into that.
So we're going to be serious about the Lord's business.
So looking at it, bro, we got to go ahead and get in at least 10,000. Thank you.
So this is one of the main videos that's being clowned upon because basically people are like, why are you waking up so early to basically do fuck all? And I'm not saying that as my own judgment. That's basically what a lot of people online have said. For me, if you want to wake up at 3 and then journal for like 30 seconds and then dunk your face in iced water 20 times, it really doesn't change my life. So go off. Could not be me. Like, what time do you go to bed to wake up at basically 4 also, which sustains you enough to go through long, potentially exhausting days? I'm going to show you 2 more TikToks just so you get an idea that I haven't cherry-picked one at all and that they're all kind of along the same lines. Also, I think it's important to note, and this is probably part of what makes it unrelatable, which, like I said, is not necessarily a bad thing because it can be interesting to be unrelatable so long as you do it quote-unquote correctly, which again really depends on who you are, how you come across, how genuine you seem, blah, blah, blah.
Thank you.
Three, two.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my God, this is unbelievable.
Hilarious. Peace, thank you.
What?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much.
You too, bro.
So, needless to say, the money aspect is a very big part of this because, of course, as you can see, he's wearing a lot of very obvious name brands, from the fanny pack to his bracelet to, I mean, the lifestyle is just giving luxury, also on account of a lot of the stuff he's not doing himself, right? So we don't see him cooking here. We always see the hand of a woman, you know, sliding the plate or pouring the water. So a lot of this is also coming across as not really the day in a life of like, hey, this is how I make my breakfast, or this is even what my breakfast is. We see it for like 2 seconds, like, yeah, they're eggs. We don't know anything, right? So this is what I was talking about earlier in terms of this being a very surface lifestyle, in the sense of I don't really know shit about this person. I don't even know really what they eat for breakfast. I know that they went to Saks Fifth Avenue and looked at a white shirt. Is that what they ended up purchasing? Perhaps. Very, very surface, which to a degree is also understandable, because I do think with the number of weirdos on the internet, you do need to be very careful about what you show and how you show it, because that can really help zero in on people finding you. Let's do one more and then we'll go on to what people have said on the internet, which is really part of why this is so viral in the first place, people's commentary. Okay, I have to say this one is particularly funny to me because he's still kind of sprinting and reaching for what looks like a glass water bottle out of the car that's following him to film his content. All of that together is just so crazy to me, but it does show a dedication to the craft and I can't really knock him for that. So, is this my type of content? Absolutely not, mainly because it's also extremely repetitive. How many times do we have to see the blue Saratoga bottle? How many times do I have to see your ice bowl? How many times do I have to see your fanny pack? Truly, it's not brand new content. It's all very formulaic, which again, might appeal to some people, but I think after 5 videos like this, what more do you really need to see of the same things? Anyway, let's go to the Twitter comments. So it starts off with this one guy who is obviously doing a parody of all of these lifestyle, day in a life, whatever videos, except that this is far less curated and more quote unquote realistic and relatable. I do think this is funny clowning. I don't think any of this goes into harassment or bullying, but it's just pointing out the fact of like, hey dude, you're showing us all this stuff, but it is so pristine that it seems just unrealistic, which is what if it's what he's going for, that's fine. There's this other parody video where basically it's showing the minutes, much like in this guy's videos, much like in Ashton's videos. And that's another point of contention for a lot of people, is that it's like he'll journal for like 2 minutes and then he'll do like push-ups for 5 minutes. And it's just like, okay, I understand putting the time, I guess, to show like, hey, this is what I do early in the morning before I officially start my day, fine. But it does lead you to ask a few questions. What can you really get done in 4 minutes? You know, so anyway, this post that has no context whatsoever, and that tells you how viral this has all gone, because it's a bottle of the Saratoga water, the ice bowl, and the banana, because there's also, I can't remember if it's any of the TikToks I showed you. They blur together so much, but he washes his face and then eats a banana and then uses the banana peel to like rub on his face. So I don't know what kind of nutrients that might be giving you, but the meme is so widespread that this did not need a caption. Let that one sink in. So we have another one that says, in quotation marks, "So looking at it, bro, we gotta just go ahead and get it to at least 10,000. Which again is going back to what I was saying before of like, we see these tiny clips of him allegedly working, but we really have no context for what this 10,000 is about. Who is he on the phone with? Is this about his meal plans? Is this a side hustle? Is this another gig? Does he have another main job we don't know about? We don't know shit. So here we have a good morning post that just has a notebook, a pen, and a bowl with ice in it. Again, just a fun little reference to how viral this has gone. And this has 418,000 likes. So the virality of this, if that's even a word, really should be studied. And I'm not kidding about that. So there are other people who are already mimicking this content, not in a humorous, haha, this is so silly way, but in a seemingly genuine way, which alarms me a little bit because, like I said, I do think this content does come off as inauthentic and does come off as very Patrick Bateman from American Psycho, which is also something that comes up a lot, where people are like, guys, remember American Psycho is supposed to be a warning, not something you aspire to. And if you've seen American Psycho, you know the scenes I'm talking about where he does his push-ups and his like facial and all of this stuff. So it's getting very eerily close to that in a non-ironic way, which is interesting. But anyway, there's this guy who is trying to be Ashton, and someone commented on this, and this is a popular critique. The choice to have faceless women who are only shown in service to these men is very telling. Now, do I think that showing these women just like their arms or like their backs, or never really giving them personhood, quote unquote, in the sense of you can't see their face and, you know, their expression, do I think that necessarily is a massive, massive red flag in and of itself? No. That being said, it does make you question, okay, are you doing this because you want to be the main character, which is fair because it's your account, so you get to decide that? Are you doing this because you want to protect their privacy, or maybe they don't want to be filmed in terms of their face? Maybe it's that. Maybe if we're going to view it in a particularly critical way, it's like these women are really just placeholders in terms of like, it could be this woman in the same way it could be another woman, as in they don't matter, like someone just serving you your ice bowl thing. It doesn't matter who it is. Does that make sense? So it really depends on your own interpretation for that one, but there has been quite a bit of commentary about the woman's role in all of this. Last post that is making fun of all of this is, am I forgetting anything? And here we have the famous banana due to the eating the banana and the banana facial, and then the famous blue bottle that is honestly at this point pretty much at the equivalent level of main character as Ashton himself. In the grand scheme of things, all of these TikToks, who gives a fuck really, in terms of like, it has no massive world significance. But I do think it's interesting just as a general study of pop culture to think about this, because for the most part, at least in the circles that I was with the people I was following, a lot of the people who were doing lifestyle content were women, and it was seen as kind of girly to do lifestyle content. In fact, I've seen comments under a lot of these posts, not his specifically, but the reposts or like the posts on Twitter, saying that it comes off as gay, which honestly, that's really just homophobia speaking. But there are a lot of comments that show some kind of disconnect with a man making this type of content. And I think that's silly because it's lifestyle. Everyone has a lifestyle. Everyone has a life. I don't really think it's particularly gendered, though in the past it's been mainly women, at least that I know of, doing lifestyle content. So that's one of the critiques that I think is neither here nor there, but I did see it. Aside from that, I'm also thinking what this means in terms of a shift of content generally in pop culture, because as we saw, there are already men kind of following suit and kind of doing the same type of lifestyle content that is extremely curated, very, very distant from the audience. Like, there's no speaking to the camera, which is kind of a main part of lifestyle content if you really think about it. Kind of like vlogs. You're going to tell the camera, hey, so I usually wake up at this time, I'll show you what I do before I go to work. And then you show the 5 hours that you're awake before you start your workday where you're doing push-ups on the balcony. But you talk to the camera. That's also why I think this comes off as very distant and inauthentic, because not only is there the quote-unquote service woman who you only see her arms or her back or whatever, so there's not really people here aside from your valet or whatever, but it's also like you're not addressing us either, so we're just viewers that have no direct interaction. And I think that's part of maybe what weirds certain people out. But I am interested to see where this type of content is going to go, because it is kind of random that it would resurface like this, or maybe there's a pattern I haven't picked up on that you guys can tell me about. But anyway, you guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. I just think it's interesting how viral this has all gone as like a media sensation, when arguably this is some of the oldest type of content. Like, aside from pranks on YouTube, which is like the earliest content I recall seeing on YouTube, lifestyle and vlogs have always been out there. So it's interesting now that there is this kind of shift into luxury lifestyle. I don't know what we want to call it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.